here today to show you how to install a Monroe OESpectrum Strut on a 2005 Mercedes-Benz C230 Kompressor Sport. This sedan has 87,000 miles on the odometer. Monroe OESpectrum Struts feature an exclusive twin technology active control system that helps deliver OE-style control while filtering out the road-induced NVH commonly encountered on vehicles with lighter weight suspensions and low-profile tires. OESpectrum shocks and struts are now available for virtually any popular late-model foreign nameplate passenger car. The OESpectrum Strut on this Mercedes differs from others because it has only a single top mount nut, and some of the parts from the old strut need to be reused for the install. When you remove the wheel for service, always be sure to make a mark where the rim contacts the hub. This mark will serve as a guide for you when you reinstall the wheel. Lining up the marks prior to reinstallation will help preserve the wheel balance. Once you mark the wheel, remove it by unscrewing the lug-style wheel bolts and lifting it off the wheel hub. Now you can begin removing the original strut. You'll need to cut the strap holding the ABS brake line. Compress the two tabs on the back of the plastic ABS bracket and rotate it out of the strut assembly. This ABS line is only attached to the strut on the passenger side of the vehicle. Monroe includes a replacement zip tie along with the OESpectrum Strut to replace the strap when the install is completed. Now that the brake line is free, unbolt the anti-sway bar end link. Loosen, but don't remove, the first of the three lower mounting bolts. Later in the install, it'll be easier to remove this bolt, so leave it in place during this step. Look under the hood. This vehicle has a single upper strut mount bolt that includes a cap and a washer. Remove the plastic cap, and then loosen and remove the upper nut, washer, and retaining plate. Next, go to the remaining two lower mounting bolts and remove them. It's easiest to remove these with a swivel socket. Now we'll go back and completely remove the third lower mounting bolt, which will allow you to remove the strut from the vehicle. Now that the strut is removed, you'll need to remove and reuse the spring and other components from the original strut. Use a suitable spring compressor to compress the spring and take the load off the nut. When the strut comes loose, use a special Mercedes-Benz tool to remove the nut. Warning: while removing the nut, be sure to use a clip to hold the strut and spring together, preventing the strut from falling out. If the strut falls, it could injure you. Once the nut is removed, take the clip off and pull the strut out of the spring. Let's get ready to install the Monroe OESpectrum Strut. Before you can install the Monroe unit, you'll need to transfer the upper mount bearing, dust boot, and spring from the original strut. While transferring these parts, inspect each individual part for wear or other problems. Check the upper mount for cracks in the rubber. Inspect the bearing for binding condition by making sure it rotates smoothly. Inspect the compression bumper and dust boot for cracks or tears. Make sure the bumper isn't smashed or missing. If in good condition, you can install it on the OESpectrum Strut. Make sure the spring isn't cracked, kinked, or broken. Also, inspect the integrity of the finish on the spring. If any of these parts are damaged, replace them with new parts before installing them on the new OESpectrum Strut. If all of the parts are in good condition, install them on the OESpectrum Strut in the order you removed them from the original strut while keeping the spring compressed. Now you're ready to install the Monroe OESpectrum Strut assembly into the center of the coil spring. When you replace the nut on the top of the bearing, you'll need to use the Mercedes-Benz tool and a double wrench setup to provide force in both directions to tighten and torque the nut. Once the rod nut is secure, you can remove the spring tension from the spring compressor, and we're ready to install the OESpectrum Strut on the vehicle. Install the new strut into place and install the lower mounting bolt you removed last. Next, let's move to the top and install the upper mounting retaining plate, washer, and upper mounting nut. Raise the vehicle and replace the two adjacent lower mounting bolts. Use liquid locking compound on the bolt thread. Torque all of the lower mounting bolts between 33 foot-pounds and 45 foot-pounds. Reconnect the ABS brake line plastic clip, followed by the anti-sway bar linkage. Remember to replace the strap you cut at the beginning with a zip tie to hold the ABS brake line in place. Before you put the wheel back on, make sure all the lower bolts are tightened and torqued. Replace the wheel, tighten and torque the lug nuts. When the vehicle is firmly on the ground, finish tightening and torquing the single upper mounting nut and reinstall the plastic cover. Now you can align the vehicle and it will be ready to go. That's it. We've completed the Monroe OESpectrum installation on a 2005 Mercedes-Benz C230 Kompressor Sport. For more information about Monroe OESpectrum shocks and struts, please visit www.monroe.com.